Okay. I understand that maybe we've been a little too harsh on this guy. Today we're talking once more about Montreal Canadiens prospect, Joshua Roy. And I say prospect kind of loosely. I don't know if he really counts as a prospect anymore. Let's just check right here, see how many games he's had at the NHL level. Yeah, is he a prospect? I think he could be. Anyways, but last time we spoke about this guy, it was in a video that was kind of pessimistic, and we had spoken about the idea that Kent Hughes may or may not have made a huge mistake by not trading this guy away. Because at one point, Josh Roy was seen as one of the most underrated fifth-round picks in the NHL. He was taken 150th overall in 2021, and just a few years after, he was going out there and dominating the QMJHL. He was a stud at the World Juniors for Team Canada, playing alongside of Connor Bedard in Bedard's one and only World Junior stint before getting drafted. And ultimately, there was this idea back in 2023 that Josh Roy was so valuable and he was seen as a really good prospect. Well, it's been a few years, and Roy, after displaying various levels of talent in the Montreal and Laval Rocket systems, was not able to hold on to an NHL spot full-time in either of the past 2 years. He was at 35 points in 47 Laval Rocket games last year, which was great, under a point per game in the playoffs as well. But this season, Josh Roy was not able to hold down an NHL roster spot in the preseason, and fans weren't really surprised to see him get sent down after watching the games that he did play. Roy just wasn't skating as hard as he could have. Roy wasn't at the pace that he should have been in order to get an NHL spot. But the reason we are revisiting Roy today is because we had ourselves an interview where Josh Roy goes out there and talks about how he feels upon being sent down. This article was posted onto tvasports.ca. It was written by Dave Levesque, and it will be linked down there in the description below for your reading pleasure. The article was originally in French, but I translated it to English via the Google machine, and there are a number of things that Josh Roy goes out there and talks about in this article that I think are good things to acknowledge. Last video was all pessimistic. Hey, Montreal should have traded this guy away. They could have gotten a lot of value for him because after the World Juniors, a lot of people had their eyes on him, and they saw the level of playmaking and the point production he was able to provide. But now he's barely able to crack the Canadiens' forward core, and he's not really giving all the other guys a run for their money. With that in mind, let's go out there and read this piece on TVA Sports. Josh Roy will start the season in Laval. We'll push him hard this year. Pascal Vincent wants to see Roy add a rhythm to his game. The article opens up by talking about how Josh Roy was certainly disappointed to be cut by the Montreal Canadiens, but he hit it well on the first day of Rocket Camp on Monday. The 22-year-old right-winger was among the first players in his group on the ice at play spell, and his smile didn't seem forced. Whether he tells us or not, he's definitely disappointed because he had a good summer. He showed more pace, but he still has time ahead of him, said head coach Pascal Vincent. He feels he's on the right track, and he feels that by working like he did this summer, he's getting closer to his goal. We're going to push him hard this year. There's still a lot of work to do in my game, and on the little details that will allow me to reach the next level, Roy said. Now, the next part says just hearing. Okay, hearing. Interesting how that works translation-wise. But the article writes here that Roy had 2 good auditions with the Canadiens. I'd say probably just games, including a game against the Maple Leafs where he played 17:45, including 5 minutes and 34 seconds on the power play and 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the PK. He didn't collect any points in 2 games. Martin St. Louis has suggested that he wants to see more defense involved from Roy. Now, the article says that the games were good. I would maybe disagree with that a little bit. They weren't, amazing. He didn't get any points. He got a lot of power play time. This is what the preseason's about, right? You want to see the level of talent that your guys are at, and you want to showcase just the varying levels of production that you can get out of these guys, Waugh had none. So, kind of unfortunate for him. He says here in the article, though, I have to offer more than just offense, Waugh said. I have to become better defensively. That would become an asset. This fits in with what Pascal Vincent says about Waugh. The coach believes Waugh needs to broaden his range and take advantage of his good hockey IQ to reach the next level. With Team Canada, he played shorthanded and he was good. So can we expand his role so he's no longer considered just an offensive player? We're going to work on that this year, and we need him to get on board with it. His computer is very fast. His defensive readings are good, but if he's going to be recognized just as an offensive player, he has to score 40 or 50. And that's hard to do. Now, I like what Pascal Vincent is talking about here. Might I remind you that the AHL, while it is nice to see the Laval Rocket go out there and win and get into the playoffs and potentially get a championship, the point of the AHL is to develop your prospects. And if you're not doing that properly, you're not giving them the reins, the keys to the car, the opportunity to get better, then you're kind of at a disadvantage there. So it seems like the Montreal Canadiens farm squad is indeed placing emphasis on improving what it is Joshua needs to improve on and using what he is good at to help those extra things. Also, it's written about here at the start of camp, Joshua mentioned he had worked extra hard over the summer to arrive physically ready for the Canadiens training camp. I put the effort and the odds in my favor. Nothing is finished yet. It didn't go as I wanted to, but I'm still young, and I'm still going to keep chasing my dream. I feel much lighter, more comfortable. Skating is easier, and I have more rhythm in my game. Being lighter makes things easier. Pascal Vincent knows exactly what the young man needs to do to give himself a better chance of climbing the last rung that separates him from the NHL. I want to see sprints both offensively and defensively. He can't just glide. Obviously, you have to be able to slow the game down, and that's not a problem for Josh. He has good offensive vision to do that, but he has to move his feet constantly and stay active both offensively and defensively. Now that's some pretty good words of wisdom there from Pascal Vincent, and I think it's one of the things that we needed to see more of out of Joshua, just from watching him in the preseason games that he did play. He needs to stop relying on his hockey IQ and think that everything is going to come for him in the offensive zone if he just uses that IQ to make things happen. He needs to get his butt in the play. He needs to start forechecking. He needs to start backchecking. He needs to be a useful player with and without the puck, but especially without the puck. These are things that Joshua didn't need to worry about when he was lighting the QMJHL on fire the past few years. All he had to do was use that hockey IQ to outsmart the admittedly not so great QMJHL competition, and he'd be golden. He'd be able to get points, and he'd be able to score 119 points in 66 games and look like an immediate draft steal in the 5th round the year after he was drafted. He's right in the way that he talks about himself. He's still young, he's still got a lot of work to do, and he still believes he can take the next step. But I did want to get a little bit of optimism in there, because the last video talking about Joshua was very pessimistic, and I do still stand by this assessment, though. Like, I still do think that Joshua's value is probably a lot lower now than it was 2 years ago in 2023, but that's neither here nor there. The guy is still a 5th-round pick that we were talking about potentially making the Canadiens roster this season, and that in and of itself is pretty good. So if you're excited for the future of Joshua, let me know in the comments below, how do you feel about him speaking out on his career and him getting sent down? This is what he had to say after Kent Hughes made that decision to cut him. If you're optimistic on him, let me know in the comments. If you're pessimistic on him, let me know in the comments. Likes, please, they help out with this video if you're able to drop a like. If you didn't like this video, then hey, feel free to hit that dislike button. That's there for you too. Comments also help out with the algorithm. I appreciate that a ton. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.